Hey, are you thinking about moving to Seattle, Washington, and you're considering a suburb around it like Issaquah, Washington, but you're not really sure about the neighborhoods? What are the good and the bad of each one? Where are the neighborhoods located? And would you really like it there based on those really high prices that we're seeing out in Issaquah, Washington? Well, if you want to know more about the neighborhoods in Issaquah, Washington, and which ones are my top favorites, then stick around. Hey, if you're new to this channel, my name is Kelsey Anderson. I am a local realtor and I love to put out videos about the different suburbs around Seattle so that people like you, people that are considering moving to Seattle or even around the area, can get a better idea of what the suburbs are like. So definitely subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and tap that bell for notification so that you don't miss another market update. All the information is in the description below. So in today's video, we're going to be jumping in, looking at my computer and just kind of driving around Issaquah so we get to know the lay of the land a little bit better. First of all, where are the neighborhoods in Issaquah? All right, so now we're going to jump into my map to kind of get a better lay of the land of Issaquah, Washington. So as you can see, I'm zoomed out here so you can kind of see where Issaquah is on the map. Definitely check out my other videos so that you can get to know just a little bit more about kind of the layout of Issaquah in general, the pros and the cons, and kind of just the whole map in general. But just to give you a little bit of an overview right now, we've got Seattle over here on the west side. And if you take 90 from Seattle, so whether if you're North Seattle, you'd go south on I-5, you're gonna hit 90, come through Mercer Island, through Bellevue, and then you're gonna head southeast, and that's when you'll hit Issaquah. Issaquah, Washington is a smaller suburb around Seattle, just about 40,000 people. So it was included Sammamish back in the day, but then Sammamish kind of broke off in 1999. So it's kind of a smaller community now on this south part of Lake Sammamish. So great proximity to Seattle, only about 20-25 minutes to get to Seattle and about 20 to 30 minutes depending on where you live to get to SeaTac Airport. So great location overall. Now let's dive in a little bit deeper to where the neighborhoods are. We're now a little bit zoomed in and I'm gonna show you where my top favorite neighborhoods are that I'm gonna get into today. So one of my top favorite neighborhoods is North Issaquah. Another favorite is the Issaquah Highlands. Then we've got South Lake Sammamish or South Cove, Montreux, Talus, and then Squak Mountain has a neighborhood on the south side and then also the north side that I'm gonna be talking about. So as you can see, all the neighborhoods are sort of spread out on the outer part. The central Issaquah kind of valley area is where all your grocery shopping and restaurants and entertainment and kind of classic downtown Issaquah where you've got lots of like festivals and salmon hatchery and just like little shopping boutique things when your in-laws are from out of town, you want to take them to a cute place, you go to Gilman Village. All of those places are right downtown. You got Costco, PCC, just all the things that you're going to need, Trader Joe's, and just restaurants from across the world, as well as wonderful Lake Sammamish State Park. So all those things are located real centrally. So there's no neighborhood that I'm going to talk about today that is particularly like so out far in the boonies. You're so far from amenities, but there's just going to be little nuances in the different neighborhoods as far as housing and prices and schools, and just kind of like, some of the outdoorsy things that are going to be really close to you or a little bit further away. So let's jump into my sixth favorite neighborhood in Issaquah, Washington. We're here in North Issaquah. You can see from the City of Issaquah Washington website, if you go to issaquah.gov, they've got a great website for their residents. And then if you're kind of checking out the different neighborhoods, I think this supplements this video really well. You can see over here in green is where North Issaquah neighborhood is located. It's on the northern part of Issaquah, kind of close to Sammamish, the city of Sammamish, and then also it touches Lake Sammamish and borders it a little bit. Then it has these just 10 to 13 second little video clips that I want to show you. It starts off with just sort of a beautiful view here of from looking at the mountains here in North Issaquah, and it's going to show you that some of the properties definitely have more space, and then some are newer developments and they're a little bit closer together. So I think it does a good job of showing that you can kind of have your property out in the woods, or you can have that kind of newer development, new construction style. So that is North Issaquah. North Issaquah, although it's my sixth choice, would be an amazing neighborhood to live in Issaquah, Washington. So most of the single family homes in North Issaquah range from about $1 to $2.5 million. And that's just gonna depend on really how big the property is and then how nice, new, and big the home is. So you do have some older homes that are probably gonna be on larger plots of land. And those are going to be built back in the 1960s all the way up to the year 2000. And then you do have some newer construction homes that were built back in 2018. Those are obviously going to be closer together and not be as, spacious with those evergreens in between the properties as you see in a lot of housing developments in Issaquah. The kids will be going to Clark Elementary School, Issaquah Middle School, and then Issaquah High School. Some of the pros that I love about this area is that you are on the north side, so you are closer to all the amenities that you have in Redmond and Kirkland. So thinking about, you can go up to the wineries. Downtown Redmond has a fantastic mall, Redmond Town Center, and they've got lots of public golf courses, which you don't have necessarily in Issaquah. You've got golf courses, you've got breweries out there, you've got Marymore Park. So all those kind of amenities, and then wineries up in Woodinville are going to be a lot closer to you in Issaquah, in the north part of Issaquah. You've also got Pine Lake and Beaver Lake, which are just kind of smaller, more residential lakes that you can, kids can go jump in the water there if you don't want to go to Lake Sammamish. So just lots of options as far as fun. You also have a lot of hiking in that North Issaquah region. Lots of trails, things like that, as you do in most regions in Issaquah. You are also super close to different retail centers down there. So even in North Issaquah, you have, you can do your shopping. I think they have like a little hospital out there as well. And then you're not far from downtown, where the majority of Costco and the rest of the bigger restaurants and Trader Joe's and Target and all that kind of stuff is. But you do have shopping centers right in North Issaquah. You can go get your Krispy Kreme donut down the street, go get a burger, things like that. You also have the trail, I should say, the kind of the street and the trail that go by East Lake Sammamish Parkway. Super easy to get to if you're in North Issaquah. You just pop right down to the water, and you can do the 22.5-mile track around Lake Sammamish if you want to bike, or if you're a really good runner, I guess you could run that as well. Now, the cons of living in the North Issaquah neighborhood is that you are a little bit further away from I-90, which is going to be your closest freeway, especially if you're wanting to get into Seattle or going to south to SeaTac. So there are ways, if you take 202 on the north side, you can connect to 520 going into Seattle on the north side. But if you want to connect to I-90, like you're going into, if you're going into Seattle from the south side, or if you want to connect to SeaTac, like I said, you are a little bit further away. But again, you're not that much further away, just a little bit further away. Yeah, that's all I have for cons. All right, now my number 5 top neighborhood in Issaquah, Washington is the Issaquah Highlands. Now this might be the favorite for a lot of people because it has so many things to offer. So you can see over here in green, the Issaquah Highlands is the easternmost neighborhood in Issaquah, and it's right next to North Issaquah. So it's going to share some characteristics with some things I just mentioned. Like I said before, you can access this neighborhood on the same website. And I'm just going to kind of show you, this is the branch of Swedish that I was saying that's in North Issaquah. That's going to help residents in both the neighborhoods I just mentioned. So here we show that hospital and just beautiful development. A lot of the homes are closer together in many parts, but just great parks and views and water. Lots of great things that we just love about this area. Single family homes in the Issaquah Highlands range in price from $1 to $2.5 million, which is really similar to the northern Issaquah neighborhood I just mentioned. There are also a lot of condos in this area that range from $600,000 to $900,000. These homes are literally set up high, given the name, and it's not quite as woodsy. This is really more of a residential neighborhood that was made back in the 2000s, so it kind of just feels newer and a little bit fancier up here in the Highlands, but it's just known for its kind of walkability and all the shopping and dining and entertainment options that are located right there. There's parks and different trails you can go down, but it's not quite as woodsy and traily and hikey as some of the other neighborhoods. Kids that will be going to Clark Elementary School, Pacific Cascade Middle School, and Issaquah High School. Fun little fact, the Issaquah Highlands actually has its own like fiber networks. They're all kind of sharing their own little internet out there. Kind of cool. The pros of living in this area is definitely the walkability to so many great amenities right there. So you've got restaurants and pubs and happy hours, and you can go to Bevmo and you can go to Home Goods, and those kind of locations are right there kind of in that community, which is super nice. And you're not too far from the rest of larger shopping, but you do have to drive, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes to get to more shopping opportunities, but you've got lots right there, and you've got places to go get dinner. A lot of you go to Zeke's Pizza, Habit Burger, Crumble Cookie. They've just got a lot of fun things in that area. I think there's a Habit Burger, but just love all the options right there in the Highlands. And Grandview Park is a really popular park on the north side. The only cons I can really think of for the Highlands is you're on the north side of Issaquah. So if you're wanting to connect to 90 because you need to go to SeaTac Airport or get into the southern part of Bellevue, it is a little bit further away. So you're about, I would say about 10 minutes from connecting to 90, which is really not bad. But if you're talking about getting, needing to be in traffic during the rush hour times of day, it might take a little bit longer if you live up in the Highlands. The only other con I can think of is that if you're looking for that super woodsy, evergreen kind of like large property where you can really, set up camp with your RV and things like that, living in the Highlands is just not going to be set up that way, just because of the newness of it being built in the last 20 years. It just kind of has that sort of newer construction vibe where the homes are a little bit closer together, but they are absolutely stunning. And that's why you do see some of those home prices getting over $2 million. They definitely don't disappoint, but they're not going to be like some of the other neighborhoods I'll show you today. The fourth top neighborhood in Issaquah, Washington, for me is Squak Mountain. So Squak Mountain is located here on the southwest part of Issaquah. So it kind of borders sort of parts of unincorporated King County as well as East Renton. So Squak Mountain has kind of a huge part of probably the biggest neighborhood in Issaquah. I'm going to talk about two parts today, kind of the northern part that's closer to that downtown area, and then the southern part's kind of on the backside, a little bit closer to East Renton, and some of the different vibes of those. But I do want to show you this little neighborhood video. It kind of starts off with a cool skate park, and you can kind of get a feel for the neighborhoods and just the beauty that is Squak Mountain. Just towering evergreen trees and trails throughout your backyard, just absolutely stunning. The Squak Mountain neighborhood really has a kind of a backside and a front side, I would say. I'll call it north and south. And you can snag a house as cheap as $900,000 in these areas, or all the way up to $2 million. And both places kind of have a different vibe. On the north side of Squak Mountain, the homes are going to be a little bit closer together. So if you need that cup of sugar, you only got to go like right next door. If you're on the back side of Squak Mountain towards Renton, you might have to walk, a little bit further. You don't necessarily see your neighbor from all houses. Now, some of the properties are like a really big, kind of look like they're equestrian, right? So they've got like white picket fences and they really spread out. And then some of them are a little bit smaller, right? 3/4 of an acre, but so cool. They don't have to see their neighbors, but they can, but they have absolutely stunning views. If you're on the front side of Squak Mountain, you're closer to that downtown area and the high school. If you're on the back side, you are gonna have to go down a hill in order to get to sort of the main areas of Issaquah, but you kind of have more of that sort of woodsy Pacific Northwest kind of vibe. You're a little bit further away. Now on the back side, As far as, I mean, you are apart from neighbors, but not really. So we've got friends that live over there and they literally leave their house to go hit the trails right in their, like, right down the street from them, and they run into their neighbors and they're saying hi. Just like, I can't imagine a more Pacific Northwest sort of vibe than that. Kids in Squak Mountain are gonna go to Apollo Elementary, Maywood Middle School, and Liberty High School. The pros of living in Squak Mountain are definitely just the ability to have those hikes and trails right in your backyard, and also have the ability to have really large properties, lots of land and privacy. And then of course, if you're on the north side, the pro is going to be that you're really close to that downtown area with lots of amenities, all your, your grocery shopping, lake access, kind of downtown Gilman Village, all that stuff. And then on the backside, the con is going to be that you're going to have to go down a really big hill. There's kind of just one way to get into that neighborhood on the south side of Squak Mountain. So you're about 10 minutes from some more amenities in downtown Issaquah, but not really that far. My third favorite neighborhood in Issaquah, Washington is Talus. So we are located here, you can see in the green, just next to Squak Mountain over here on the west side. Still super close to that downtown area. Let me show you a little clip from the website. So beautiful sign and kind of waterfall out front. And you can just see these homes built back in the 2000s. You've got community parks and trails, absolutely beautiful. So love Talus, just for the beautiful homes that you'll see driving through, but also just the community feel that you sort of feel when you are on this hill. So there are over 200 trails, so you really can hike. The outdoor spaces are just incredible. You also have Harvey Manning Park, which is located in this little community of homes, and that's where they kind of will hold some community events. There's also a super cute cafe when you're going through, and then Cougar Mountain Middle School, which right now it doesn't say is slated to go for residents, but Cougar Mountain Middle School you'll see on the drive-in. It's located on the left side.
This newer neighborhood situated on Cougar Mountain is very private, and single-family homes are $1 to $2 million mainly, but there are pockets of newer builders that go beyond that mark just a bit. Townhomes here range from $900,000 to $1.3 million, but they are new, fabulous, fancy, and bigger than most single-family homes.
According to Zillow right now, kids go to Issaquah Valley Elementary, Issaquah Middle School, and then Issaquah High School. The pros of living in the Talus community are definitely the outdoor spaces on the mountain, and then just the proximity to central Issaquah. So you're so close to the transit center down there, and Costco, and Gilman Village, all those kind of fun spots, restaurants, Target, just everything you're going to need on a daily basis, being super close to the freeway. Those are all huge pluses. Now, there are a couple downsides of Talus. There's really only one way to get to the neighborhood, which is just up that hill. And then sometimes the parking situation isn't that great. Some of the homes are a little bit closer together. And there's not a whole lot of ways to get out. So when you've weaved in through, to get to somebody's home, you kind of have to weave back through. There's not a whole lot of ways to get back to that main road either. So that is definitely a con for me. And that obviously comes with limited parking if you were to have a big, party, Super Bowl party. It's gonna come with a little bit of a challenge. Favorite neighborhood in Issaquah, Washington. It is beautiful Montreux. So you can see from this map, we are located on the northwest side of Issaquah, super close to South Cove and just north of Talus, where we just came from. And this is located on the north side of Cougar Mountain, just south of the freeway. Let's check out their little video so you can get to know Montreux. Beautiful entrance again, and homes. Just kind of going up this gorgeous hill.
Super manicured streets, just looking out on the Cascades and Lake Sammamish. Homes in Montreux are built back in the 1990s and cost between $2.5 and $3.5 million. Now, this is no surprise if you drive through here, you just see how well manicured and beautiful it is. The homes are sort of spread out, so you don't feel like it's an overly developed lot of land with just house. As you're driving up, you kind of see some houses on the right and the left, and they're just kind of like little cul-de-sacs of like 8 to 10, maybe 15 homes as you're going up. Now, this was a 260-acre planned community, and half of the community was reserved just for hiking trails. So that was part of the common use plan. And so it really, I think, keeps the integrity of this planned development intact. If you are someone that likes that kind of like upscale neighborhood vibe, where all your neighbors, manicure their lawns and take care of things, maybe like the finer things in life, this is definitely going to be a spot for you. Not to mention the views are phenomenal of both the lake and the mountains from almost every neighborhood in this community. Kids will be going to Sunset Elementary, Pacific Cascade Middle School, and Issaquah High School. Now, the pros of this are, of course, the views and just that kind of the quiet, quaint nature of this hill. The only cons I can think of are really that you're a little bit further from the grocery store because you have to go down that main hill. There's only one exit. It's not like Talus where you can really get yourself kind of wound around the neighborhoods. Montreux doesn't have as many homes, which I think makes it a little bit more special. But yeah, not a whole lot of cons with Montreux.
Favorite neighborhood in Issaquah is South Lake Sammamish. It is located on Lake Sammamish. It's actually the only waterfront properties that are kind of make up an entire neighborhood on the south end. We're barely kind of touching Bellevue. So Bellevue would just be just north of this, but we are bordering Lake Sammamish in that top tip northwest corner of the city. Check out some views. It kind of starts out with some of the woodsy area that you're going to see that does have a little bit of a park down here. It's not in the woods. You're not on a mountain because you're closer to the water, but for being on the water, this is what you can see on the north part of the neighborhood. Beautiful, this walk. This takes you kind of down to the beach. You can just see these beautiful houses right on the glistening Lake Sammamish water. The South Lake Sammamish neighborhood is also called South Cove in some areas, but this is just an incredible community right on the lake. So about 50 homes actually have lake access. Most of the homes here are going to be, they're all single family homes to my knowledge, ranging between about $1 to $2 million. And then parts of, depending on the kind of home you have on Lake Sammamish, obviously there are a few homes for sale in like up to $11 million, but those are kind of, I would say, outliers. So most of these properties are actually pretty reasonably priced, from my opinion, for having this kind of proximity to Bellevue and Seattle, and just having all these kind of amenities also in the neighborhood, which I'm going to get into here shortly. Most of these homes were built back in the 1970s, and you can tell many of them have been remodeled and updated, and then there are some older homes that clearly have not seen the light of an update in a while, but most of these homes are absolutely stunning. And you've got different types of craftsman style homes, and then you also have some of those split level, tri-level homes that were characteristic back in the 1970s in this area, and then just obviously super fancy brand new homes, sometimes right on the water there. But as you're driving through this neighborhood, it's not quite as sort of woodsy, there's no towering evergreen trees filling up kind of, so you can't see where your neighbor is like some of the other neighborhoods I've mentioned, but definitely a great neighborhood feel. You just drive around, you kind of feel safe. There's 3 neighborhood parks located right there on the Timber Lake Park is on that north side, and it actually has some trails and sort of just like flat areas that you can go down to the water. There's actually a public access point for the lake right there. But there is a shared kind of There's shared space on the water for residents in the South Lake Sammamish. It's private, so you don't have to go to the state park, which is just located a little bit further south in Issaquah. But if you're a resident, you get this private kind of beach area. There's tennis courts in this neighborhood. And like I said, 3 different parks. So I just think you kind of have that really fun kind of close-knit neighborhood feel. Kids in this neighborhood are going to go to Sunset Elementary, Issaquah Middle School, and Issaquah High School. The pros are definitely the location. So not only being super close to the lake, but also being really close to I-90 and Bellevue. That means you're gonna be closer to Seattle, closer to, getting to SeaTac Airport, things like that. And super close to the amenities. You're just on, like I showed you on the map, you're just on the north side. So you're like 10 minutes away, 5-10 minutes, maybe even less, to getting into Costco and Gilman Village and all those kind of fun things, and downtown, all that kind of jazz. So you're close to everything, but you're really close to also the freeway and living north, sort of closer to Bellevue. So that's really nice. Great location, really close to Cougar Mountain Zoo. And then the cons are, if you are looking for that more woodsy feel of Issaquah, this is definitely going to feel more like a neighborhood, and it's not going to have as many hikes. Like I said, there is one on that northern side, but not a ton throughout like some places. All right, that's all I have for you today. Those are my top 6 favorite neighborhoods in Issaquah, Washington. You can certainly disagree with me. Let me know your opinion in the comments. And if you were thinking about making that move to Seattle, and especially Issaquah, definitely get in contact with me using the information in the description below. I'd love to help you make that smooth move here if you're thinking about buying a property. If I don't see you around town, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you later.